Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. And this one's special because it literally is Super Rugby Pacific. FIJIAN DRUA taking on Moana Pasifika, two Pacific Island sides that are certainly going to be bringing the flair. They're going to be bringing the physicality, and they always have a close game, and I feel like this one will be no different. But the FIJIAN DRUA at home for this contest, they've got an impressive home record, although the last game that they did play in Fiji, they were defeated by the undefeated Hurricane side. But the FIJIAN DRUA for this lineup, it is Hireti Hatit, Zarir Togiotama, and also Masaki Donge starting in as the number 3. Is Soana Silasila with Rotui Solia as the 5, Etonia Wanga, and then also Kitioni Salawa and Merideri Alangi there in the loose forward trio. Penny Matawale with Isaiah Armstrong-Ravuli. He has returned into the side, a welcome change. Although last week, felt like the man who did slot in at number 10 didn't do terribly. We see there, I think Armstrong-Ravuli just found the camera in the changing rooms and he was standing in front of it, having a bit of fun. That sounds dodgy. Upper Salomi Vota there at number 12 with Osefo Masi on the outside at 13. Then out on one wing it will be Teniela Rakuro, Celestino Ravatamanda out on the other wing, and Eliza Drua Sisi slotting in as the fullback for this contest. Then for Moana Pasifika, Abraham Pole in the front row alongside Sam Molly and Sione Mafaleo. Tom Savage at 4 with Alan Craig slotting in as the number 5. Then Papuni at 6, Jacob Norris 7, and Havili Talatui will be slotting in to close out the Moana Pasifika. 4-back Eritara Inuri with William Havili as the 19 channel. Julian Savia and Henry Taifu. Now, Savia's now got a little bit more ground to make up. DJ Perenara keeps on scoring tries, which means that he is, at the moment, the leading try scorer in Super Rugby history. Savia right on his heels, though. If he has a big game here, perhaps even a hat-trick, that might give him a bit of breathing room. Pini Anisi out on one wing, Viliami Fine out on the right, and Danny Tawala slotting in as the number 15. But looking at the chat, we are doing all the games today, all of them apart from Highlanders versus Western Force, just because that is the one that is happening around dinner time, and we've got a couple guests at the moment, so that is why I'll be skipping that one, having dinner with them, and then after that we're back into it for 4 more games of Super Rugby, as well as the 3 of the URC, or the 1 of Super Rugby, I should say, alongside the 3 of the URC. So we have got 6 live streams today, about 12 hours of commentary. The voice is going to be struggling, but hopefully we aren't. We've still got another 22 hours of being awake, somewhere around there. But they've 2 sides now making their way out onto the field. Wimar Vili, he will be starting at 10, going head-to-head with Armstrong Ravula. This is going to be an entertaining battle between these two, both young, both hungry to try and really make an impact this season. I feel like both have been able to do that already, but it's about closing out the season. It's about getting in that top 8 at the moment. The Drua find themselves in 7th. Moana Pasifika find themselves in 8th. But they no longer have that big gap between them and the side in 9th. 12 points for that side in 9th. 13 to make it into the top 8. And Tosa Drua Toso says Asia there. These 2 sides ready to put on a Pacific Island battle of Super Rugby Pacific. It's always entertaining, like I said. At any time these 2 sides play, it always ends up going down to the wire with only a couple of points in the matchup. FIJIAN DRUA, though, their recent game, it was up against the Hurricanes. They were defeated 38 points to 15. In the game prior to that, they were closer half-time, but the second half happened. Their discipline faded, and it was 41 points to 20. Now, something that happened in that Hurricanes game that was very impressive was there was a lot more discipline from the FIJIAN DRUA. Unfortunately, though, there were just a few too many handling errors that ended up costing them a bit more. And at that contest for Moana Pasifika, they have been in a really weird patch of their season. They were defeated by the Chiefs by 56 points, and then they went on to beat the Reds by 3 when they were at home. So it's extremely difficult to know what to expect from Moana Pasifika here. It's either going to be a one-sided contest, or we're going to see them really come for the fight in this matchup against the Drua, which I believe will be the more likely option. I think that these 2 sides love playing each other. They love showcasing Pacific Island rugby. And at the moment, they are challenging each other just before the match gets underway, ladies and gents. But the next game that we have got on the channel, it is going to be the one between the Hurricanes and the Brumbies that has taken place in Australia. And that is at 4:30 p.m. New Zealand time. Game following that is Highlanders Force, but we aren't covering that one on the channel. And then the one after that will be the Reds versus the Blues. And that game is one that we are covering on the channel as well. But looking through at the reserves. Now, there is no Tavera Ikanaveri for this contest. They didn't actually show him warming up with the team, but he is on maternity leave. Not specifically him, but recently had a baby with his partner. Fijian Drua, though, Dolakoto, Natawe, and Tawake as the replacements. Vofi with Mira and Tanakai Vata. So actually going with the 6-2 split. And Mike Byrne pretty much said the reasoning behind that is, Mick Byrne, I should say. Reasoning behind it is they want to bring that physicality all throughout the 80 minutes, and to be able to do so, they do need that extra man off the bench to really give them a good shot of being able to do that. But Simeone Kuruvuli and also Naito Kani there at number 23 for Moana Pasifika. It is Sama Malolo, Latu, and Sukope Kipu as the front row. Then they have got Tuelangi at number 19 with Loto Nisi, who's been fantastic for them throughout the season so far. Jonathan Tamatine at 21, Christian Leliafano at 22, and Nerea Fomai as the number 23. But that is the two sides in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. They are just doing the pre-match rituals between the two sides, challenging each other, and then we will be ready to go for this matchup. And it looks like both sides are fired up and rearing to go for this match. One moment, I am just going to mute because I am about to sneeze, which unfortunately what I was about to say is could be quite a regular occurrence throughout today. Unfortunately, the hay fever is kicking me in the teeth, so not ideal for today. But already the players are getting themselves drenched with cold water. It is very hot out there for this game in Lautoka. The referee in charge of this one is going to be Graham Cooper. He's got George Myers as one of his assistant referees. James Palmer and also Oliver Killett is going to be there as the TMO. My husband and son heard me sneezing from outside the other day. You must have been really giving it a good go then, of mum, if that is the case. Yeah, I normally try and sneak that mute button, but I don't think I've ever had to mute halfway through a sentence because of the sneeze hitting too quickly, which just happened there. It does feel like a sneezing day, unfortunately. Now the countdown is on. And we are now ready to go for this matchup between the Fijian Drua and Moana Pasifika. It's kicking off about 5 minutes later than it was originally scheduled. Luckily, there is game time in between the next two matches, so it shouldn't impact too much, but it's going to be nicely taken by Viliami Fine. Goes off to Sione Havili Talatui, and already looking to the short side for Moana Pasifika. I think if there's one thing to expect in this game, it's going to be a lot of running meters for both of these sides, not just one. It looks like they're going to go for the box kick here with Iritara Eneri rolling this ball back. Does get some decent height on it, down towards the 40-meter line. Nicely taken by Eliza Drua Sisi, slightly a little bit too high in the tackle attempt from Julian Savia, but didn't really connect. Roto Solia. They're going to be waiting for this one. Instead, they do go to his teammate there, or his locking teammate, I should say. But now passing out to the right-hand side, Celestino Ravatamanda with the ball. Matawalu back across to Armstrong Ravula. And this game, like I mentioned, it's going to be fast-paced between these two sides. That fast-paced, in fact, that sometimes when you're reading out names or you're saying names, you can't quite say them quick enough. Osefo Masi with a beautiful step goes on the inside to Rakuro. Great acceleration shown. And he reaches out and scores the try. First try of the contest coming for the Fijian Drua in the first 80 seconds of the contest. That's exactly how the Fijian Drua would have wanted to start. Osefo Masi breaks through two tackles, which then just leaves the space for Rakuru on the inside when he got the offload away. But here's Osefo Masi breaking through Julian Savia. Tell you what, the bus looks like it's got a flat tyre in the first moments of this game. Already 2 missed tackles from him, one of which has led to a try. They're trying to tackle a bit too high there, Julian Savia, trying to go around the chest rather than around the midsection or around the ankles. And in the end, it was Jacob Norris trying to drag down the player, but Rakuru was already too close. And it's a nice, easy conversion as well, now making the score 7-0 for the Fijian Drua. Just adjusting his shorts at the moment, Rakuru, who want to keep them on. 2.5 minutes in though, and already the Fijian Drua have got themselves that 7-0 lead. Exactly the start in G, 32 degrees in Lautoka. Yeah, it's extremely warm at the moment for this contest. Luckily, there's no rain, although in some regards, I think some of the players may actually prefer if it was raining, as it might cool them down just that little bit. Matawalu going off to Azaril Togiotama. Almost set off his feet for Moana Pasifika. Armstrong Ravula now looking to go off to this left-hand side. With pressure being put on in the breakdown. Never on the ball, says the referee to Henry Taifu. Still ball available. Matawalu goes across to Armstrong Ravula. Big shot on his side. Sila. Now Matawalu looking for the box kick. This one isn't allowed to find touch, and it won't. A moment, we're about to sneeze again, but first of all, Danny Tuala goes across to William Havili. And here comes the... We are good. Now halfway. I see run forward from Tom Savage. Eritara Ianari. I think he was trying to milk a penalty there. That's going to be a deliberate knockdown. No, it's just a knock on from Mary Derialangi. He apologises to the referee. Now going to be the scrum for Moana Pasifika. If the Drua win, and with a bonus point, they will stay in 7th. If Moana win, even with a bonus point, they can only move up to 7th. So you have 9 moment. It just shows you the difference at the moment between the top 6 and the bottom 6 of the competition. Yet, everyone in the bottom 6 can still make the quarterfinals, which is quite interesting. And actually, when you really think about it, technically, I believe every single side in the competition can still make it. Theoretically, this is of course results driven, can make it to the top 4. I think. I could be wrong there. Of course, we have seen recently the Chiefs have moved up. The Rebels are still sitting there on their 24 points. And of course, the Crusaders have also made the jump up to 9th with just 1 victory. But, 3 bonus point wins for the Satyrs. They would move up very close to the top 4. But that kick has gone out on the full from Moana Pasifika. Unfortunately, Danny Tuala does get that one wrong. And it now means that the Fijian Drua will have another opportunity with line out and about 40 metres out from Moana Pasifika's line. Great start to the match. The Fijian Drua already having the early try of Rakuro. Thrown in nicely taken for the Drua. Now Matawalu sells the dummy. Tries to go with a little bit of a gamble of running through the line-out line of Moana Pasifika. It doesn't work out for him. Now Masaki Donge. Shot coming in from Tom Savage. Matawalu offside there from Moana Pasifika. I believe it was Real Togiotama who rushed up, or in fact, no, sorry, it would have been Sam Molly, my apologies. Now nicely taken by Viliami Finne, finds the offload to Henry Taifu. Look for a kick that was very close to going out on the full as well, but it does bounce in the field of play first. And now Fijian Drua will have the line out throw about 25 metres out from their line. So Taifu and Moana Pasifika trying to play the early territory game, but they also at some stage work to try and find that attack, and I believe that is going to come from playing the territory. They want to force the Fijian Drua back into their 22. See them make a mistake. Oh, that's a big shot coming in there from Sione Havili Talatui. Ball still there. Matawalu close to a knock-on on the ground, but Armstrong Ravula now going across to a Tony Owanga. Now to the right, there's an advantage for a high tackle here against Moana Pasifika, and they will go back for the original penalty. I think Celestino Ravatamunda wanted to take that one quickly. The side wasn't quite there ready for the quick tap. Armstrong Ravula was absent last week. I believe it was due to personal reasons. I think it was the family. That one's not out though from Armstrong Ravula, which now gives another opportunity for Moana Pasifika to start to mount their first real offense. Henry Taifu goes across to Viliame Fine. Started the season with a hiss and a roar up against the Highlanders. Arvo to the Kiwi lads. How's things, bro? Says Spider-Mick. Other than a bit of hay fever, doing very well. Overall, we got a lot of rugby, doing 12 hours today with different games. 3 Super Rugby contests, 3 URC contests. I don't think I'm going to have a voice tomorrow. That's out on the full again from Moana Pasifika. They're trying to play territory, but they are making too many mistakes, which is almost costing them more territory than they would have gained, which is slightly ironic with that tactic of trying to force your opposition deep inside their own half, and all they're doing is giving the opposition possession inside theirs. It's a real togi on tama. Throw's gone astray though. And Moana Pasifika back with the ball. The bus Julian Savia gives it on the outside to Danny Tuala, who broke through one. And there's a knock on there on the ground. I think they're asking whether or not there was a high tackle. The referee says it was on the shoulder. Okay, the referee there just said, if I missed it, it's on me. They just want to see it there. Yeah, it was a little bit high from Sifo Masi. It's not an easy game when it is the Drua versus Moana Pasifika. You know there's going to be a lot of big hits. And there's going to be quite a few, I guess, elusive plays that make it difficult to keep the game from getting a little bit scrappy, but he's doing all right at this point. 866 kgs for the Fijian Drua, 923 for Moana Pasifika. Ball kicked on the inside, picked up by Matawalu, who goes across to Apasalomi Vota, but he's put it down. Who's next on your list, Hemi? So it is the Brumbies versus the Hurricanes. The game taking place at 4:30 p.m. New Zealand time. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again. Right, I hopefully won't have too many more of those throughout the stream. Luckily, last night we didn't have anything in terms of hay fever. But it was a great pickup from Piri Matawalu off the kick in behind. Just Apasalomi Vota wasn't able to match that. Rikuro. He's had the one try so far. 10 minutes into the contest, though, Moana Pasifika with Danny Tuala. Going back across to Julian Savia. Let's get taken down. It was close to the turnover. Now Moana Pasifika looking to put phases together just outside of their 22. Has been told to use it by the ref. Now Inari gets a good bit on that kick, but beautifully taken by Armstrong Ravula on the halfway line. Called as a maul, which means that this ball does not come out. Moana Pasifika get it, and that is exactly... Hang on. It's from the kick, though. So the Fijian Drua will actually end up getting themselves the scrum feed here, rather than Moana Pasifika. So I think that was actually the touch judge who corrected the referee on field. Yeah, because it's a maul off a kick, it cannot be a turnover. So that is why the Fijian Drua do still have themselves the ball. But their scrum, it is first in the competition. They have won 63 of their scrums when they've fed the ball in. They are the only side, I believe, to have 100% accuracy at scrum time throughout the competition so far. Now back across Antrong Ravola with a skip pass there. Nice stepping from Osefo Masi, who has already proven to be a handful throughout the early stages of this contest. Now they're trying to hold up Eliza Drua Sisi, but he gets the knee down to the ground. And Bulla Hamish says, Vinny, welcome in, mate. And up to the halfway line, Kitione Salawa. Now with his carry, they've gone with the 6-2 split off the bench for the Fijian Drua. That is to add some extra punch later on in the contest. Matawalu. Now off to Eliza. Well, in fact, it's going to be a Soana Silasila this time. Once again offside. That's Sam Molly. Twice I've seen him make his way forward a little bit before getting an early jump, but both times nothing has been done. I assume that is because maybe the hands are on the ball for the Fijian Drua halfback before he starts advancing. That is a turnover one from Henry Taifu. Thank you, Hamish. Hope all is well with you. Says Vinny there. It's going to be very nicely done by the outside set also, mate. Toso Drua. Says Fijian Zion there as well. But yeah, the Fijian Drua, if they can get themselves a win here, maybe one more at home. I think they've still got one or two more home games. And then one away would definitely help them get up there in the table. If they can somehow make the top four from here, the Fijian Drua. It's a long way to go, of course, but the Super Rugby competition, there is still time. They can make that top four. You have to say having a home field advantage in Fiji would be absolutely massive, and that might be the difference between the draw making it to a semi or getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. But William Havili putting that ball towards the corner now. It'll be about 15 metres out from the line. Another opportunity for this line out. Sam Molly throws it in. That's going to be a loose ball. It's well picked up by Eritare Eneri. Okay, it's a knock-on from the Moana Pasifika side. So there was a knee of a Fijian Drua player, which of course is not a knock-on. And then from there, the drop ball from Moana Pasifika as well. Yeah, Hamish, hopefully they will make the top four. Says Veneer, there's a wee way to go, about 5 more rounds, I believe we have, of Super Rugby Pacific. So theoretically, like, you get yourself 5 bonus point wins, you get 25 points, and that puts you a long way up towards that top 4. But I think for the draw, the biggest concern, once again, as it always has been, is that away game. Anytime they play away from home, they don't seem to be able to get themselves the win that they need. Like, next week, they're playing the Brumbies away from home. And, you know, that could be a tough game. It's hard to know where the Brumbies are sitting now that they've had a tough loss to the Blues and the Chiefs, two of the New Zealand sides. At the moment, the possession and territory, both in favour of the draw, 61%. And the possession, 72% in the territory. Another scrum feed here for the Fijian Drua. Peni Matawalu. Ready to feed this ball in. The Mani is still suspended. He won't be back for a little while. True that away from home for the Drua, says Vinny. Yeah, I think if Fijian Drua have a home game for the quarterfinal, they're doing extremely well. And they probably would have a great chance of being able to win that game if that was the case as well. Celestino Ravatamundi, he's almost fallen the wrong way there, but Jacob Norris loses his footing, so he isn't able to get that turnover he was after. They are looking to hold up Antonio Wanga there. Eddie Langi hitting the ball up. We're good. Hay fever sucks. 15 and a half minutes through at the moment. Matawalu going off to Celestino Ravatamanda. Running it forward now around the side. Zoria Tongiotama. And that's close to the turnover. Once again, Moana Pasifika managed to get themselves the turnover there for not releasing from the Fijian Drua. That was William Havili. We're actually seeing more turnovers from Moana Pasifika's backline than we are seeing from the four-pack, which in some regards can be a little bit concerning. The fact that the forwards aren't the ones getting the turnovers, but perhaps that's not in the tactic. Maybe the forwards are there to enforce that physicality in the breakdown so that the opportunity for the backs to get in does arise as well. Now they're going to be just inside of the 22 here, the Moana Pasifika team. It's a real tongi o tama. Doing well, but William Havili doing even better to be able to intercept that ball. Now Sam Morley throws this ball in to Jacob Norris, or in fact this time it is Tom Savage who claims it at the front of the line out. And on to that one, Sam Morley. Slowly trying to march their way towards that 5 metre line here, Moana Pasifika. Looks like it's going to be relatively successful here. Players starting to go down in an awkward manner. We're looking round for the ball. In fact, Moana Pasifika still driving forward with this rolling ball up the middle of the field. Moana got this. Says Ivan there. But now Sione Avili Talatui hanging on to this ball at the back. Now Eritara Enery goes across to Julian Savia. 10 metres from the line. Eritara Enery going across. That's a big shot coming in on Moana Pasifika. Willie Havili, he's been hit in the head there. They want to check it. Might have been a little bit too high from the Fijian draw. The last thing that they need is some yellow cards throughout this contest. Now off to the side, Danny Tawala sells the dummy. Couldn't quite get that next pass on the outside to Viliami Fine. There is an advantage in favour of Moana Pasifika now. Eritara Henry, no look pass. Across to Alan Craig. Now again, Eritara Henry goes off to Abraham Pauly, who bumps through. One tackle attempt of the Drua. Good defence so far from the Drua, with the exception that is going to now be the knock on, but they will go back for their original penalty, and they are going upstairs for this one. They're going to have a look at Masaki Donge's tackle. Oh, it's a head contact from Masaki Donge, and it's going to be a yellow card here. And, oh, if this turns into a red, that's bad news for the Fijian Drua, because unfortunately then they're ill-disciplined from some of their past games, like they mentioned. Their game up against the Highlanders, I believe, is the only game that we haven't seen the Fijian Drua recently get themselves a yellow card or more. Although I thought their discipline up against the Hurricanes was pretty good. I don't remember too many cards throughout that game, but I could be wrong. Now only 5 metres out from the line, though, Moana Pasifika once again are going to have themselves another line out. Willie Havili, he has been really handy for Moana Pasifika, playing as that fly half role. Sam Molly now ready to throw this ball in, and it's nicely taken at the front by Alan Craig. Only 5 metres from the Drua's line as they start to get the side shuffle going. Sam Molly still has it in his hands. Eritara Enery. It looks like he wants to go to the short side, trying to trick the defence. They weren't falling for it, though. They knew exactly what the plan was going to be, and that was to throw it to the bus, who has lost 2 metres. 5 metres out from the line now, though. Eritara Enery going off to the left-hand side. Willie Havili tries to cross-kick, finds the hands. Oh, what's happened here? It's offside. Wow. Moana Pasifika offside, chasing the kick. That is a massive, massive mistake from Moana Pasifika. They wanted to give it out on the wing to Finianisi, but he was not behind the kicker. That's the kind of like schoolboy era that you can't afford to have. And Moana got this, says Ivan. I think the referee just said that the players can have a drink now once this ball goes out. They're just going to have a quick stoppage there. But that was a golden opportunity for Moana Pasifika, which unfortunately they did end up blowing. Got to make sure that they don't do that again. Yeah, unfortunately he was just a little bit too far ahead for Anisi, and I feel like that slightly gave it away to the referee, the fact that he had overrun the kick, even though it was quite a flat one. 20 minutes into the contest, and still only 7-0 at the moment for the Fijian Drua, which is a pretty interesting scenario to find themselves in, because of course they are still favourites in this contest, but they would have loved to score themselves maybe 1 or 2 more tries, and perhaps that can come in this half Only 9 minutes remaining at the moment of that yellow card of Masaki Donge. So if the Fijian Drua can avoid giving away any sort of serious infringements throughout their time, and maybe even they can score themselves a try, I think they'll be more than happy with that time period. But if they end up conceding, it will mean that it's a little bit closer going into the second half. The crowd are absolutely loving it, that is for sure. The crowd are having a lot of fun. Just looking here. Oh, so Kopi Kepu is 38 years old. And he's born on the 5th of February. We may have found a player who is older than Tony. I'm sure he'll be absolutely stoked about that. But 20 minutes gone. Just having the drinks break at the moment. For the two sides, of course, it is extremely hot out there on the field. What is that man mixing in that bucket? It looked like he was making some sort of beverage. Perhaps. I don't think there's many grounds around the world that would let you bring in a bucket while you're like mixing something. I feel like it must be very lenient in Fiji for entering the ground. But currently 40 metres out from the line, the Fijian Drua have got themselves the ball. Armstrong Ravula going back across into the midfield towards Sefo Masi. Again, rush defence from Sam Molly. I think that man's been offside all day. They don't seem to be calling it at the moment. Armstrong Ravula gets it away to Upper Salome Vota. Now another offload coming. Trying to hold him up in a rolling maul situation, but he gets himself to ground. Now Armstrong Ravula going across to Eliza Drua Sisi. Gets back up and goes again. Still 40 metres from their line here for the Fijian Drua. Armstrong Ravula puts the ball high. Chasing onto this one was Rakuru, but well taken by Toala. Now Viliami Fine. Taken down by Osifo Masi. Short side though, Finianisi space starting to open up here for Moana Pasifika. Ball on the inside from the bus. Gets it away to Sione Havili Talatui. Looping around. Taken again. Now Eritana in a race, short ball from Toala. Another offload, but it goes straight to the Drua, who have now got themselves the counter-attack. Eliza Drua Sisi getting the legs pumping. And he's taken down 30 out from his own line. Now Wanga puts the kick in behind. That's not normally what you'd expect from a big man. He gets the boot forward, but the ball rolls into touch just outside of Moana Pasifika's 22. Who's in the bin? It is the number 3 for Fijian Drua, Masaki Donge, who got himself sent from the field. And yeah, he's still going to be in the bin for another 7 or so minutes, I believe, somewhere around there. That ball was loose. And Antonio Wanga, probably not a bad choice to go for the kick in behind. Like they mentioned, there was open space. Nicely thrown in by Moana Pasifika, ball back there. The big thing here for Moana Pasifika is if they are going to try and play that territory game, they have to be much more efficient at it. Because they've already kicked the ball out on the full twice. There's a decent chance to be able to grab that one, but Celestino Ravatamanda claims the kick from Inari. Matawalu. Going back across to Nasila Sila. Again, short flat pass to Antonio Wanga. Sam Molly got back to his feet, but couldn't get the turnover. Now space for the Fijians on the outside. Although with the bounce pass means that they did have time to be able to get those players back and cover defensively. Close to the turnover for Viliami Fine. Pressure being put on by Moana Pasifika in the breakdown. Herete Hitet driven backwards there. Up to 7 phases. I think something's now just being checked for maybe another one for head contact. Not sure who in favour of though. Now, Sefo Masi, 15 metres out from the line, and they'll go back for the penalty to the Drua, who take the quick tap, but he wasn't on the mark. About a metre in front, which means he isn't able to take this one quickly. Already seen quite a few players with hands on hips, hands on knees. The heat is really sapping the gas tank of these players. And now, there's going to be a kick at the post for the Fijian Drua. This to add the extra 3 and give them a lead of 10 points here over Moana Pasifika. Just talking about how great Tom Savage has been in overseas games. 24 minutes in, Armstrong Ravula lining up this kick. They're saying Moana Pasifika starting to have a few players with hands on knees, starting to struggle in this heat. Kick is good from Armstrong Ravula, and this is where the Fijian Drua, we know how strong they are at home. And now they have to try and really up the tempo for this last 15 minutes. We've got to remember as well, they have still got the 6-2 split. Okay, the yellow card is staying in yellow as well, ladies and gentlemen. Score will remain at 10-0. And only the 10 minutes for Masaki Donge. Crowd are cheering that one as well. They are very happy with that. Masaki Donge not happy. Well, he was smiling and shaking his head. I think he's disappointed. Oh, miscommunication there. Don't know whether Armstrong Ravula called mine behind one of the other Fijian Drua forwards. Now that one does bounce into touch for the Fijian Drua, about 40 metres out from their try line. So a very decent effort there. Now, that last 15, like I mentioned, they have to try and really put the pressure on Moana Pasifika. 4 lineouts, 1 for Moana compared to the 3 of the Drua. Can be thrown over the top. Loose line out again from Sam Molly. Hasn't quite been working as smoothly as they would have liked it. A nice attack and run from Zaril Tongiotama. Now looking for his offload. Bounces awkwardly. Knocked on from the Drua. And we'll go back for another knock on and another scrum here in favour of Moana Pasifika. So we're seeing 3 handling errors for both of these sides throughout the first 26 minutes or so. It's been a pretty even game in terms of those handling and also those lineouts. But I think the big difference is the fact that the Drua were able to get themselves that try. And also just willing to add those extra points when they become available. Very smart from the Drua. But the next game, ladies and gentlemen, that we are covering, it is the Brumbies versus the Hurricanes. That one will be starting at 4:30 p.m. New Zealand time, so just under 2 hours time when that one will be taking place. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we've got plenty more action coming today. Not just that game, but also after that, we've got another contest taking place, and that will be the one between the Reds and the Blues. That is at 9:30 New Zealand time, so also be sure to check that out. But currently we have got ourselves another stoppage here, another drinks break. One moment. Oh, I'm about to sneeze again. We are good. 25 minutes gone at the moment. Masaki Donge not too far away from making his way back out onto the field. Delia Langi's actually going to be the man who makes his way from the field. That is so that the Drua can have a scrum to bring on a replacement. And number 3. Oh, early push there from the number 18, who's just made his way onto the field there, Samu Tawake. Actually going to get himself slightly infringing in that case. Nice and balanced as the call there from the referee and Tosa Drua. They're just showing there already we see Tawake sweating. They're just talking about how hot it is at this ground. And Tosa Drua says Elaitia, hopefully I've said that correctly. But yeah, pretty warm afternoon in Fiji, which normally benefits the Fijian Drua if they can keep the tempo going. But the ball is fed in by Eritare Eneri. Nice bit of work there. There is an advantage now in favour of Moana Pasifika. And tell you what, Fijian Drua, they were offside by about 5 metres there. And it's going to be going back for another penalty in favour of Moana Pasifika. So both of these sides starting to get a little bit ill-disciplined for this first half. They're just deciding what option they'd like to go with. Okay, looks like they're going with the one in the middle of the field. That is so that they have a better kicking angle to be able to put it into touch. 13 minutes remaining in the half. Haven't seen a huge amount of Julian Savia. First 5 or 10 minutes, I think we really did see him a lot. Since then, it seems like maybe he slowed down a little bit. It's a fantastic kick from William Havili. That will be 5 meters out from the line now. That is about the best kick that he could have put in that scenario, and it puts Moana Pasifika in the perfect attacking position now. It looks like Masaki Dongai, he's returned back out onto the field, so Samu Tawake's work is done for now. Of course, he will be making his way out onto the park a little bit later on in the day. Now ready to throw this one in as Sione Mafaleo, nicely taken there from Alan Craig. Been told to use it once. Crowd trying to get behind their side. Although by the looks of it, Moana Pasifika, they were close, but they broke through. There's obstruction for being in front and taken quickly by Apa Salome Vota, looking for his next offloading chance. It's well handled by Asefo Masi, but stolen by Viliami Fine. So a bit of a mistake from the draw, deciding to take it quickly. Before the match, their coach talked about how they wanted to play with a bit of flair, but they also had to play structured. They almost got that one a little bit wrong. Luckily for the draw, though, the ball has been dropped by Alan Craig, and it now means that they've got themselves the scrum inside of their 22 anyway. But it could have been bad. Like they've just said, no matter how many times you tell this Fijian side to slow it down, be patient, if there's the opportunity there, they're going to take it. And that is why they are such an entertaining side, an unpredictable team. Just don't know what the plan is going to be. And Drua says Justina there. Only 29 minutes in, and they've got themselves a nice lead here, the Fijian Drua, though they would, of course, love to be able to extend that a little bit more before we get to half-time. Perhaps, 17-0 would look pretty handy for the draw. But at the same time, Moana Pasifika, they're probably only one big play here away. That is a massive scrum from the Fijian Drua. Now Armstrong Ravula puts the chip in behind, and they'll go back for another penalty in favour of the draw. So like I mentioned, that ill-discipline starting to kick in a little bit more for these two sides. 4 penalties against both, and now that is the 5th against Moana Pasifika. That is going to be for standing up against Sionia Mafaleo. It looks like he can hardly stand up at the moment, Sionia Mafaleo. He's got the hands on the knees, taking some deep breaths. Yeah, this doesn't look fun for the big boys in the front row. That one's going to go into touch now. About 42 metres out from their line now. Fijian Drua in possession for their line out. But I think the big question is, can we see one more try coming for the Fijian Drua before the end of this first half? Of course, we've got plenty more Super Rugby action taking place today. 4 games, all back to back to back, although we aren't covering the Force versus Highlanders game, but hopefully it is a good one. It's actually supposed to be the closest game of the weekend, according to the odds. And at the moment, the way that we're seeing 2 other games go throughout this weekend is probably not too hard to be the closest game on paper. The Drua, they came in as heavy favourites in this game up against Moana Pasifika, although we do need to still mention, of course, that fantastic win Moana Pasifika got for themselves, beating the Reds. And last week's contest, nicely taken by William Havili, forces the ball back for Moana Pasifika in the breakdown. Looks like Julian Savia, the bus, is ready to fire this one across to Tom Savage. And let's go Moana, says Rain in there as well. And that's the thing, like, they are still well and truly in this contest. If they can score before half time, it is going to be anyone's contest in that second 40 minutes. Bit of a rough pass there from Armstrong Ravula, the bounce pass going now to Ravatamanda. If he kicks this one out on the full, it would be going back, but luckily for him, it's gone into the middle of the field. Daddy Toala, Moana Pasifika's fullback, beautiful step from him, dragged down by the chaser of the kick in that one. Ravatamanda now flying down the wing. Here comes Finney and Nisei, but he didn't want to give the ball up and ends up getting put into touch. Oh, William Havili might be done for the day. This is bad. This is really bad for Moana Pasifika because that is a man who has already got a heavily strapped knee, and this looks like he may have done some more damage, possibly more serious damage. But he's already made his way from the field, William Havili, so they will have to make that change of Christian Leleofano, but that is going to be a massive shame for okay. They're confused now. They're talking about the fact that they don't even have Christian Leleofano. I don't know if anyone was told that Moana Pasifika were making that change. And we have to get the arm late today because I just got back from my holiday. Says Christian, well, hopefully you did have fun on your holiday, Christian Leleofano. And what is he hurt? Yeah, unfortunately the knee, the right knee, I believe it was, of William Havili. And it's one of those ones that he didn't even stay down on the ground or anything. He just, I think, knew straight away that knee was playing up, so he just limped off the field with one of the medics. But it's a big concern because he has been so pivotal in the way that Moana Pasifika have been able to play, and now they have to look at that experienced veteran, see whether or not he can get the job done, and Christian Leleofano. Currently sitting in the middle of the field here, 40 metres from their line, the Fijian Drua. Armstrong, Ravula, interception pass thrown, and Viliami Fine manages to take it on the 22. Now Iritara Enri, the counter-attack for Moana Pasifika is on. And tell you what, that was a very obvious pass that Armstrong Ravula was going to be doing, and brilliantly read by Viliami Fine. Big shot coming in, and that is going to knock the ball free. Two-man tackle on, I believe it was Eri Papuni. And now the Fijian Drua have got themselves another scrum feed here, which we have seen quite a few of throughout this match already. But like I mentioned, the Fijian Drua, they have 100% scrum accuracy throughout this season, and I feel like that's not probably going to change throughout this game, although there's a chance because about a 60 kg advantage for Moana Pasifika. That's just a great two-man tackle from the Fijian Drua, hitting right on the ball and making it pop out the back door. And now, ball's about to be fed in by Penny Matawalu. And it's gone down in the front, but they're being told to play it. Meri Derialangi going off now to Armstrong Ravula. Osifo Masi, such an elusive player, and he's still making his way forward. They can't drag him down. There was about 4 defenders beaten in the one run. Matawalu. Let's go for the kick in behind, and does point touch about 26 metres out from the Moana Pasifika line. So both of these sides have actually opted for quite a bit of territory. Whereas normally the way that they make their territory is they run the ball. So I think both sides trying to really concentrate on structure, and it's actually something that both coaches have reiterated throughout the week and also before the game. They said that they can't get caught up in the style of rugby that they know is the entertaining kind, the kind that can be electric but also can be very costly if you get it wrong while you're defending, or you make those little errors that can then cost you the ball. I don't know what was happening with my tongue there. It was like I had been stung by a bee on it. It was getting stuck. But now, awkward bounce, knock on there from Henry Taifu. Nice run from Rakuru. Gets the ball on the outside to Celestino Ravatamanda. He's got plenty of pace. Leleofano tries to get across, but I don't think he got it. And Ravatamanda scores for the Fijian Drua once again. Unfortunately, I don't want to say it because it's going to sound harsh, but Leleofano was never going to win that foot race because he's just not quite as explosive off the gate or off the get-go as someone like a Celestino Ravatamanda. And to his credit, he put in a really good charge, Christian Leleofano, because he had a lot of metres to cover. but he had a lot less to cover than Celestino Ravatamanda. Come on, Leliafano, says Rain in there. But yeah, unfortunately, Leliafano, just that maybe 2 meters too slow in that case, and maybe he was a bit further away. I don't know if I spelled his name right, says Rain. I think you have. I think that's pretty close. Yeah, I think you're on the money there. I think the only thing that would change it a little bit is that little hyphen in between the two I's. But other than that, I think you're bang on. And like no one's going to judge you for not having a hyphen. I don't think. Unless it was like an English exam, like back at school. They sucked. I used to quick fire them, which you shouldn't do, ladies and gentlemen, but I used to just write flat out. And then I did it that quickly in one of the exams that they were like, did you actually do it? And I was like, yeah, finished it. And then I got a decent mark on it. So that was all right. But stay in school, everyone, is what I should say. It's good for you, old school. Like, you literally, everyone who's left school, hang on, did he knock that on there? Brava Tamanda from that angle? Maybe. But it's 17-0 now for the Fijian draw with only the 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. But yeah, anyone who's older than school level now, like, do you miss school? Because I kind of miss school. Okay, got it, thanks. First time on this chat, says Rain. Well, now I feel kind of bad that your first time on the chat and I've just corrected your spelling. We don't always correct spelling. Like, normally we just let it slide, but then you did ask, so that's only why I gave the correction. But yeah, hopefully you are enjoying so far, even though Moana Pasifika are struggling a little bit, but they should have enough potential to maybe fire back a little bit. They've got the possession now, 38 meters from the line. Iritare Inori. Our ball's available. Is that the halftime siren? Or is that just someone's horn? No, it's all good. Says Rain, yep, it was the halftime siren, and they will kick it into touch. 17-0 now. And this contest at halftime. I'm not sure where, I guess, the scoreboard or the score on the screen must have been a little bit behind in terms of the coverage. And now watch Drog now go to sleep mode. Moana make a comeback in the second half. Says, no, well, that's the thing, right? The Fijian draw, if any side recently has got that, I guess, that aura around them or that reputation of we end up going a little bit slower in the second 40 minutes, it has been the draw. You look at that game between them and the Rebels. They were close at half-time, and then all of a sudden, boom, straight down. 2 red cards can change the game, and we might see that in the second half. Discipline will be important. Both of these sides have given away, I think it's about 5 penalties each, which isn't terrible, set that. A decent mark like what? 50%, 70%, says Ivan. A pass for us here in New Zealand. So, we have achieved merit and then excellence that you can get. And I think I was I got my achieved. I was happy enough, though, because that was the pass that I needed. But, that's decent. The only exam that I failed at school, this is getting a little bit of inside knowledge, but the only exam that I failed at school was music theory, because we had to listen to music and then write down exactly what notes we were hearing. That would have been all well and good, but unfortunately, the weeks that we were supposed to learn about it, our teacher for music, I don't want to say too much, he's in the services of some sort, like emergency services, and while running outside the school, he tripped over the chain and then concussed himself, broke his arm, and a couple other things. So then we didn't actually get to learn anything for the exam. So we went in pretty much blind, hoping to just fluke it. And unfortunately, I did not fluke that one. I think I failed about as bad as you can fail, because we didn't learn anything for the exam. I think only one person passed, and that was someone who's been playing music anyway. They were a pianist. And they play a piano. It's an easier way of saying it. Hi, Hamish says, Bren. G'day, Bren. How are you? One moment. I will quickly sneeze. Right, we are good. How different would your life be if you didn't fail music theory? Probably the same. If I didn't fail it, maybe I would have done another year of music. But like, yeah. I think I only really did music to play guitar, and like, we just pretty much, that's the thing, we probably should have learned it earlier on in the year, but we were too busy just playing musical instruments. And that was pretty much the gist of what we did every single lesson, other than like one in a blue moon where we were supposed to learn about music. And good dude, what are you talking about, school? Says Brandon, that scoreboard, Moana, let's go. Says Rainier, it's a little bit one-sided at the moment. We will get some stats through with that first 40 minutes. But I'm still not completely convinced that this game won't be closer in the second half. Because, like I mentioned, Moana Pasifika, not normally too bad throughout a second 40. We saw that in their game up against the Reds. And then also, the Drua are normally known as being a first half team, and second half can sometimes go downhill. So far, the tries, we have seen 2 for the Fijian Drua compared to the 0 of Moana Pasifika. Fijian Drua have beaten 22 defenders compared to the 7 of Moana. And then also we have seen the 4 clean breaks for the Drua compared to the 1 of Moana Pasifika as well. Tackles is actually relatively even in that first half. And the penalty count is sitting relatively even at about 50-52. And then the Drua have had a little bit more possession than Moana Pasifika. Most running meters was made by Rakuro. He had 64. He's had 4 defenders beaten, and he also got himself a try. And then most running meters for Moana Pasifika was actually Julian Savia with 41. Whereas Fine, he has had 40, and he's also beaten 4 defenders throughout that first half. 8 tackles made for Meri Derialangi. And then 12 tackles made for Sione Havili Talatui is the other one. So question we will ask as well, we were talking about school just before, so we might as well follow up on it while we're at halftime. And this contest, favourite subject at school, ladies and gents, what would you go with? Out of curiosity, I think for myself, it would have to be either PE, which was pretty much, I don't know what else they call it around the world, but pretty much just like physical education, which sounds a bit dodgy when you say it like that. Digital or tourism, I think, were my 3 that I would say were at the top. And also music when I wasn't failing exams. Where do you get the stats from? From the Super Rugby website. Fun fact. Second half, just around the corner, PE and recess. Says unknown. Some pretty good choices overall. I feel like that's something that when you're at school, like, it seems like it's so long, right? But once you leave school, you miss doing something for an hour or 2 hours and then getting to have like lunchtime. Like just hanging out with friends. And whatnot. Yes, Draw 17, Pacifica 0. So yeah, Southern Nutha there. Yeah, still the second half around the corner between these two sides. That will be very important for the Fijian Drua to make sure that they stay in the lead here and don't allow Moana Pasifika back into the contest. Something else that we'll quickly do as well is we will get the odds for the second half. At the moment, I would assume that the Fijian Drua are massive favourites, and that is the way I think it will remain for most of the half. Somehow I've ended up in the racing section. That's the wrong section. Moana Pasifika are $21 underdogs in this matchup, ladies and gents. So that's quite a hefty underdog. Who are a couple of your favourite guitarists? Can I be honest? Like, I really don't have that much knowledge into, like, I like, you know, the obvious ones to say I like Jimi Hendrix and whatnot, but I don't think I can name you a Jimi Hendrix song. So, like, guitarist is hard to pick, to be honest. Like, Isaac would be a much better one to ask for that question because he is a guitarist and he has played guitar for a long time. In fact, I'll ask him and we'll see if he replies by the end of the live streams. I'll say, should I ring him? No, I won't ring him. Although he is in town. Hey, I'll say to him, who's your top 3 guitarists? The stream want to know. There we go. We'll ask him that, and we'll see if he replies by the end of the stream. But he'll give you a much better answer than myself. And we have got there 52 for Fiji and Moana 14. Says Savanatha there for the score prediction. 20 defenders beaten for the Fijian Drua though, and more offloads coming in their favour. Possession is 55% in favour of the Fijian Drua, whereas the territory is actually 55% in favour of Moana Pasifika. The meters made relatively similar, although 63 metre advantage there once again for the Fijian Drua. Something that Moana Pasifika do have the advantage in is the amount of penalties that they've given away, which is not ideal. That's probably a stat you don't want. They've given away the 5 compared to the 4. All the players in the changing shed, they've got the big fan oscillating around, trying to cool down the players at halftime. They've got the cold towels as well. It's going to be a tricky second half. Looks like they've got a few Moana Pasifika kits on the wall rather than on the players as well, just for a bit of fun. Big opportunity off the bench for some of these men. Trying to add a bit of a late impact for the Fijian Drua. They did go with the 6-2 split. Dolokoto Natave and Tawake, who's already had a little bit of a taste for this match when, I believe it was Masaki Donge, was taken off the field. Vofi and Mira Thanakai Vata, Kuravuli, and also Naito Kani there at number 23 for Moana Pasifika. It is Sama Malolo, also Latu and Sukopi Kepu, Tawalangi and Nisi as the other two are replacement forwards. Now Loto and Nisi definitely a player to watch out for. Tamatine, Christian Leleofano, who is already on the field for William Havili, which was a massive hit for them in that regard. And then also alongside that, they've got Naria Fomai as the last man. And Ravola, 10 from 10 kicking range. Says Savanatha, he's been kicking very well, and he has brought such an impact to the side as well in terms of being able to add, to be honest, it's kind of adding stability and almost it feels like calmness to a backline. Even though he's one of the younger players in said backline, he still seems to be one of those guys that is able to keep everyone calm, tell them not to panic, and just keep the game flowing in the way that the Fijian Drua want it to. But second half, very close to getting underway, ladies and gentlemen. Although the game did start a little bit later. I think it started about 2:09 rather than 2:05. So they might still be a little bit further before the second half gets underway. But once it does, we are going to be, of course, back ready to go. And alongside that, we have got the game taking place between the Brumbies and the Hurricanes. That is kicking off at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. Next game after that will be at 9:30. That is going to be the matchup between the Reds and the Blues. And then after that, we've got 3 games of the URC that we are covering back to back to back. So there's going to be plenty more action coming in the near future. So anyone who is new, be sure, of course, to hit that subscribe button. So we've got plenty more rugby coming up. And next week for these two sides, for anyone wondering who they will be playing next for the Fijian Drua, they are heading to the Brumbies home ground to be able to take them on. And then Moana Pasifika, they have got a home game of their own up against the Highlanders. That one taking place at 2:05 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Now we've got plenty of action that is going to be taking place all throughout that weekend. We've actually already done the schedule. She's looking pretty busy overall, I will say. We've got the Sevens taking place for the Singapore Sevens. Also, the Champions Cup the semi-finals. We've got Super Rugby Pacific later on in the afternoon. Or later on in the weekend. Or in fact, it's early next week. We've got the Under-20 Rugby Championship, which is also on this Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be New Zealand versus South Africa in the Under-20s. That is a game you do not want to miss. And then also alongside that, the Under-20s game between Australia and Argentina. Valentini versus Leleofano, 100 from 100. And Tini is 87 from 100. Says Savanatha and there as well. Yeah, plenty more rugby games taking place. Also next week, alongside the games that I have already mentioned. There is Crusaders versus Reds. There is also going to be the Chiefs versus the Western Force. And then alongside that on Friday night, there are 2 games taking place. Hurricanes versus the Waratahs. And then also the Rebels taking on the Blues. Now, of those games, I believe we are covering Hurricanes versus the Waratahs. I don't think we're doing Rebels versus Blues at this stage, because we will be covering the game between the Fijian 7 side and GB 7s. Because, of course, the 7s coming back next week, where we will see the Flying Fijians in action. We are also going to have a preview of that 7s competition coming next week on about Wednesday or Thursday. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one as well. Now, second half, I'm sure they are very close to get them back out onto the field here. 17-0 at the moment between these 2 sides. There is still time to make up here. Right, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. And they're just talking about the fact that they haven't had any offside penalties, which is pretty handy. And Masaki Donge probably fortunate to escape dismissal for that high tackle on William Havili, says DJ Shack. Yeah, it's always a risk tackling that high, because you're either going to get lucky and you're not getting penalised, or you are getting penalised but you're only getting a yellow, or it's going to be worse and you end up getting that red card, which is the last thing that either of these sides do want here. According to the stats of the official Super Rugby Pacific website, Blues are the best defence, says John, and there as well. And that's the thing, the Blues have not conceded too many tries throughout the season. I think the game that they really struggled, of course, was that one up against the Hurricanes, but they were close throughout that contest. Their game up against the Reds, I think it's going to be a great test for them later on tonight. That is kicking off in about maybe 6.5 hours' time. And yeah, we'll have to see exactly how it ends up going. But Stephen Jones, Moana Pasifika's coach, is just having a bit of a chat at halftime. One moment. There we go. And Moana will create an upset. Says amazing product. That's the thing. I've said that's the thing many times throughout this live stream, but it is the thing. They are not out of this game yet, because I always look at it as if they score a try in the first 5 minutes, if Fiji's discipline that has been quite strong throughout the last couple of weeks, if they start to blunder a little bit there, all of a sudden, Moana Pasifika are more than back into this contest, and they will be kicking off this one from right to left to get us underway for the second half. Nicely taken by Sefa Masi. That is one man you don't want to give the ball to, as he is normally very handy with the ball in hand. Now rolling this one back here. We kicked high from Pini Matawalu. One's calmed down. Oh, not taken cleanly by Eritara Enri, but Danny Tawala manages to take it on the halfway line. Now Enri again getting his hands on the ball. Goes back across to, good pressure there on Julian Savia. Rava Tamandu just drives him backwards. Eritara Enri. Oh, that was a big forearm. Was it an extended forearm though? This is risky here. Right. The referee, what have they worked out here? There was a forward pass from Moana Pasifika, but there was also, it looked like an extended arm out into the throat of one of the Fijian Drua players. Yeah, Big T, that's a bit dodgy, that one. And then it was a forward pass from Moana Pasifika. A moment, we go like this. There we go, 42 minutes through in the contest. Now Pinimatawalu have to feed this ball in. Chance again for the Fijian draw. Been told to play it. Meridiri Langi spins out. Armstrong Ravola. That's a forward pass too from the Fijian draw. So a abundance of errors in the early stages of this second hour. I couldn't think of the word. Abundance is quite a fun one. Oh, here's a question. How many letters do you have to change in the word abundance to get ambulance? I'd assume it's a few, probably like 3. No one actually has to answer that question, by the way. That's just me overthinking things. But Lotu Anisi now onto the field. That is going to be for Papuni. I think that's the only change that Moana Pasifika are making in the early stages. Of course, we have already seen them get injured. Morning team. So it's been a while. Welcome in, mate. You are keeping well. Hopefully the weather's treating you well in Colorado, I believe it is. Hopefully I got the right location. That's going to be the advantage now to Moana Pasifika, who will go to the short side. Eritara Henry now passes on the outside to Fini Anisi. Great break and run. And they move up to only 30 or so metres. Our big clean out in the breakdown. Leliafano has been dispatched of. And it means that the Drua have got themselves the clean turnover. And the advantage was over as they made about 45 metres from that line break. Matawalu now puts it high. There's a player down at the moment, and that ball's going to go very close to him. He's trying to stay out of the way. I think that is actually Zarel Tongiotama, and that kick has gone out on the full from Moana Pasifika for not the first time in this game. I believe that is about their 3rd or 4th time that they have kicked this one and to touch. And bloody cold still settling in, thanks Hamish. Says Peter. They're disappointed here at the moment. Okay, Sione Havili. Oh. Okay, so there was a bit of a heartfelt chat between the referee and captain Sione Havili Talatui because he felt like they should have still been able to go back for the penalty even though they made 50 metres. And the referee pretty much said, like, I can understand where you're coming from, but a 50-metre advantage is substantial. And then Sione Havili said that they did all the hard work of winning the penalty and then they don't get the penalty. So the referee pretty much said, well, next time that happens, tell me to blow the whistle for the penalty rather than playing the advantage and you can have your penalty. Which I think was well described. Because at the end of the day, that is quite a substantial amount of ground to make half the field under advantage. Now that's going to be knocked on by the Fijian draw. Also, Zaril Tongiotama has actually made his way off the field. So Nasilisila looking a little bit tired at the moment, as most of the players out there on the field are with the heat that they are playing in. 17 points to 0. Just not able to get their next offload quite right. It was almost an awkward landing for Asawa Nasilisila as well. Good call, ref. So it's been a while. Looks like Jonathan Tamatina is going to make his way onto the field. That is for Eritara Henry, who has been replaced by the halfback. So now another scrum feed here for Moana Pasifika. 45 minutes through. Tamatine recently returning from injury. A big chance here to come back and find his feet straight away. The ball has gone in. It's looking relatively solid for both of these sides. Really good scrum contested between the teams. Passed out wide, Julian Savia. Going off to Danny Tawala now. Viliami Finne. Taken down well just outside of his own 22. And it's going to be the penalty there for not rolling away against Rakura. And that was a good call. they need to use the advantage or lose it. So here's Master Yoda, and yeah, like I would argue getting a line break like that is well and truly using that advantage because, you know, they made it almost down to the other 22, and it's not the ref's fault in that regard that their team weren't able to protect the ball in the breakdown. So, yeah, I feel like it was a very good call in the end from the ref because we've seen times where sides have made like 40 or so meters, gone right across the field, and then drop the ball. So they go, right, we'll go right back. And it just looks really bad when they go right across to find that mark. Now it looks like another change. It's being made for Moana Pasifika. And that is going to be Sekope Kepu. Now making his way on. As for Sione Mafileo. Looks like he's had a tough day at the office as well, Sione Mafileo. So more strapping coming onto the knee of Kitioni Salawa as well. Quite a few damages have been done already for these two sides. "46 minutes in. And if Moana Pasifika can stop another try from being scored by the FIJIAN Drua here, and they can score a try of their own, they will be right back into this contest, which is exactly where they want to be. Now going short, Viliami Fine. In fact, it's Lotu Anisi this time. Does get the offload away. Now Tamatine short ball to Sekope Kepu. Away back when I was a ref, 3 passes or 10 metres advantage over. Was easy on the ref. Exactly right. Now nice pass out wide. Here's the chance. No, Anisi has just run out of space again. That is the second time in the contest that he didn't have someone on his inside, or he didn't have someone that he wanted to pass to on his inside. Great defensive work from Osefo Masi. Some good meters made by Moana Pasifika though. And they're getting closer in this contest to being able to score their first try of the match. Nicely claimed there. Going to be now play on Moana Pasifika. Looking for the counter-ruck. They don't get the ball though. Now Matawalu has no choice but to kick this one into touch. It's a good clearing kick. We'll get them about 33 metres out from their own line here for the FIJIAN Drua. This game just feels like it's a chess match at the moment for the early stages of this second half. No one really budging. No one creating too much yet. But I feel like just around the corner, this game's going to well and truly open up. And maybe it's that man who they are just showing now, Simeone Kuravuli, who was fantastic throughout the Rugby World Cup. And you replicate some of that brilliance here. Line out throw for Sam Molly, who has struggled at line out time all day. And once again, he's thrown it over the top, but this time Christian Leleofano was there and ready to be able to take that ball. Now Tamatine, skip pass, goes to Danny Tuala. Risky business at the moment from Moana Pasifika. They've gone for the little booter behind Drua Sisi. He's knocked that ball down, and that is going to be the try for Henry Taifu. They will just check the grounding, but I mentioned about it. The chess match has now just had the breakthrough that they were after. They want to check the grounding, I think, here. Henry Taifu, that was just down to pressure as well. Kicking it in behind originally from Taifu. And then it was just good patience from Moana Pasifika, not panicking. Going for the kicker behind. Eliza Drua Sisi got his hands on the ball. He was tackled by Viliami Fine. And then forcing that ball down for Moana Pasifika was Henry Taifu. Yeah, great finish. The match best Anzac match. Chiefs Crusaders close second. Here's Peter Wild. I believe this whole round is counted as the Anzac round 2, isn't it? So could still see maybe a couple more great New Zealand versus Australia games coming around the corner, whether that's the Reds versus the Blues, Brumbies versus Hurricanes, Force versus Highlanders, all taking place later today. And we are covering 2 out of those 3 games. The only one we aren't doing is the 7:05 game between the Highlanders and the Force. 49 minutes in at the moment. Christian Leleofano, big opportunity to add some more points on the board for Moana Pasifika. It's not the easiest kick for a first of the day, but it's also not the hardest first kick of the day that he will experience, and it's gone just away to the right-hand side, so that will keep the score at 17 points to 5 in favour of the home side. There were concerns about whether or not in the second half of rugby we were going to see the Fijian Drua slow down, we were going to see some errors creeping in, and I would argue at this stage, maybe we're seeing it just a little bit here. Like they've mentioned about that bench, Jonathan Tamatine coming onto the park. And also a couple more other changes. Papuni's gone off for Loto and Nisi, who's already adding a lot to this game. He's made about 15 metres from inside of his 22. Tamatine now looking to go across here. Alan Craig. Drag down again. Tamatine. Going off to Christian Leleofano. Kicks that one high. Nicely taken by Celestino Ravatamanda. Going to be a tackle called there. Ball's there for the Fijian Drua. 42 metres out now from Moana's line. Now, looks like a kick on behind attempted by Apasalomi Vote. He's kicked it out on the full. What's with these two sides both kicking it out on the full? We've seen it probably about 6 times throughout this game now. I've been enjoying draw matches this season. They're always entertaining, the Fijian Drua, and that's one thing that I think they really add to Super Rugby. That's not to say that the other games aren't entertaining, but it's a different style that we see brought by the Fijian Drua. Same with Moana Pasifika. Like, they just play fast-paced attacking rugby, and they always have a crowd that's behind them for these games. We've seen 12 handling errors in this contest. That has not quite helped the free-flowingness. Well defended by the Fijian Drua. Now another handling error, but it's gone backwards. Great pickup from Danny Toala. Line up in a big shot from Osefo Masi. Now down the wing, Christian Leleofano just stays within the field of play. The crowd support is excellent. So here's Peter Wild. Oh, his foot was on the touchline for Tamatine. He's not happy with the referees there, but his foot was sitting there, wishing they were less entertaining and just blow the other team out of the water in the second half instead. Says unknown. Yeah, that's the thing. They were talking about it before the game. Mick Byrne was saying that they're trying to play more structured rugby. And maybe that is something that has actually led to more handling errors for the Fijian Drua, because normally they're at their most dangerous when they're allowed to play that free-flowing style. But because they're having to make that adjustment to playing more structure, I think that is actually where they're struggling a little bit. That's going to be another knock on this time from Celestino Ravatamanda near the touchline. Felipe Miramira has now made his way onto the field as well here. Right, number 1 and 3. Sounds like they're both making their way off the field here for the Fijian Drua. And that'll be Hereti Hitit coming off, and that is for Tawake and Natave as the 2 replacements. So another 28 minutes remaining. The second half has felt a little bit slower than the first, but that is due to, like I said, those errors that we are seeing from both of the sides. Yeah, it's a decent throw in the end, and then just a little error while trying to go to the short side. Ravatamanda knocking the ball on. A little bit of a rare error from him throughout this game. And hopefully next game is a bit faster. So here's Novman there. Well, that's the thing. Brumbies versus Hurricanes. If the Brumbies show up, it could actually be a little bit slower between those two sides, because it might have more of that test match-ish kind of feel. And Billabro says, Natindra, welcome in. Another scrum reset. Just talking about the fact that Julian Savia and TJ Perenara, they're in a race at the moment to be first in the overall Super Rugby try scorers list. TJ has got the advantage currently. Xavier's had a solid enough game, but hasn't really looked like scoring a try as of yet. Like they are just saying, Fijian Drua, this will be their third loss in a row if they were to lose this game. Moana Pasifika losing by 50 plus points 2 weeks ago. Then come back and get themselves a big win over the Reds. Will you bring FIJIAN finals today too? Said Natindra. Oh, I think that one takes place tomorrow, doesn't it? At 4:30 New Zealand time. I don't think we're going to be able to cover that game, sadly. I wish that we could. I don't think they're showing it. Oh, they might be showing it here in New Zealand. Not too sure yet. Oh, no, that's going to be the drop ball from Julian Xavier. That was his best chance of being able to score just after I mentioned that he had been struggling. But we are going to be doing the Fiji Sevens next weekend. So we are going to get to see them in a tough group with USA, Ireland, as well as Great Britain. We are covering all of their games on the channel tomorrow. Oh, sorry, not tomorrow, next week. And Audi all says, Annoy, welcome in. Nice run from Rakuro there. I'm about to sneeze again. We'll mute. The penalty is won by Moana Pasifika. Ball carrier hanging on. They aren't out of this game yet. Oh, Moana Pasifika. Slowly firing back. Looks like McBurn is starting to get frustrated in the coaching box. Okay, yes. Says Natindra there. And getting their mojo back, says Annoy. Yeah, although they're starting to lose it again here for the second half. They haven't looked as free-flowing and strong. They're talking about the fact that they need the 9 and 10 to really step up here. Just making too many mistakes. Seen 6 penalties against the draw. We've seen 8 handling errors from Moana Pasifika. So both sides have cancelled each other out a little bit in terms of their own unforced errors. Yeah, Drua Sisi just going to the short side and then not releasing that ball. Sounds like there is another change being made here for Moana Pasifika. In fact, a lot of changes being made. And I see the bench almost emptied here. We see Tom Savage go off for Tawialangi. Also, we are seeing Satiki Latu make his way onto the field. And Sama Malolo is the other man. Maybe the Drua need heavy rain. Says Annoy. Yeah, well, it's an interesting one for the Drua. Because their discipline was so good last week. Against the Hurricanes, I felt. Like, compared to what we had seen in previous games, felt like they were doing a lot better. And they weren't making silly errors. That was not straight from Sama Malolo for his first throw-in. That's the last thing that you want as a hooker when you've just made your way onto the field and then straight away you get it wrong. Going to be the scrum called now for the Fijian Drua. It's gone a little bit quiet in the second half. 17 points for the Drua in the first and 5 for Moana Pasifika in the second, who have had all the territory at this stage throughout the second half. And Drua will be sailing to coast try soon, says Luke. And that's the thing, they're so unpredictable. And every once in a while for the Drua, all of a sudden something links up. Ow, that's gone straight down in the front row. I think the ref was close to giving a penalty, but Samu Tawake has been flattened out there by Satiki Latu. I think that they were both standing a little bit too far away. Can anyone play for Moana? Number 5 looks like a white dude. No offense to any whites. Says Hanoi. So that is Tom Savage, who I'm talking about, who I think has a background of Pacific. Oh no, he's an English professional rugby player. Trying to work out if he's got any tie to Moana Pasifika. I'd assume that there's something there, but at the same time, I feel like it's probably a position that they felt that they needed a bit more experience in. And when you look at someone like Tom Savage, who's been in Japan, he's been in England, like he's had a big career. He's already, I think he's about 30, 35 now. Yeah, he is. So like he's had some good minutes under his belt, and it helps them. A little bit of push and shove happening. Tamatine smiling it off. Let's go to the Drua. Says Oni there. And how's Fiji playing? They were much better in the first half. But I still feel like they aren't out of this game, if that makes sense, in terms of being able to come back into it and get a big performance just around the corner in the last 20 minutes. Like, they're still leading by 12, so they're in the prime position to be able to go on to win this game. But it's just, I'm a little bit concerned that if they can't get a bit of momentum back in their favour, they may actually find themselves conceding another try soon, and then it's anyone's game for those final 20 minutes. Are we halfway through the half? We are indeed. Already 59 minutes through. And Moana is going to lose. Says Oni there. Another free kick goes the way of Moana Pasifika. Too early, second one. Says the ref. Yeah, it's actually gone as a penalty there rather than a free kick due to repeat penalties there. I think it was Natave did have the early push. In fact, it might have actually been Dolakoto who went a bit early there. Now 22 metres out from the line. Last three penalties have gone against the Fijian Drua. It looks like Noria Famai is about to make his way back onto the field after a bit of an injury layoff. He's coming on for Finney and Nisi. Oh no, he's not. He got the high five. Who's coming off? I think it's Henry Taifu by the looks of it, who is going to be the man making his way from the field, who's had a pretty solid game, Henry Taifu. Scored himself the lone try for Moana Pasifika. Had some big hits and also some nice passing along the way. Got that turnover early for Moana Pasifika in this game as well. And already we are seeing chance for the ball. Oh, that's a knock on from Tamatine. Can you see me? I'm at the game. I'm sitting in the Drewers team cheers. There's Oni. I'm sitting in the Drewers team cheers. Are you? I don't think they've shown the bench too much. Whereabouts are you sitting? Who are the people you're sitting in between? Are they players? Yeah, just a little knock on from Tamatine, unfortunately. You're not falling for a bit of slipperiness on the ball. Yeah. There's Oni there, but we're about to see a player make his way from the field. And Vofi making his way on. Coach. So you're sitting next to Mick Byrne. Is that what you're saying, Oni? But Dad is the manager, says Oni there. So I assume you're in the box with Mick, maybe. Now that one's going to be kicked downfield. Nicely claimed by Viliami Fine. Another offload coming for Julian Savia. Now I'm on top. Says, well, on top of the coaching box. I don't even know there were seats up there. Now, it's going to be nicely past Tamatine. Going after the short side. Another step there for Viliami Fine. Haven't quite seen Noria Famai with the ball yet. He is waiting patiently out on that left wing. This looks like now they're going to fire it out to him. There we go. In his hands. Passes it almost forward. Our white to Finney and Nise. Gets the ball alive and good attack and run. Thought about the offload. It doesn't go for a Tamatine. Now to the short side. Good hustle being shown here from Moana Pasifika. Turnover chance for the Fijian Drua. And Langi gets the ball. I hear you cheering for, says Oni. I am impartial. And this one, it's been a good back and forth though in this second half. And Langi winning an important penalty there. Well, we'll go like this. And like that. So it's getting closer in terms of the odds. And that is probably fair enough as this game comes to a close. Of course, Moana Pasifika, they can see one more try. It's probably going to be the end of the game for them. Fijian Drua, they have scored 2 tries. They'd actually need 2 more to get themselves the bonus point for winning, which of course would help them in the long run of the competition. All right, we go like this. protocol, like they've said, so they do have to have a drinks break after around 20 minutes of this half, so they will have another 20 to go. The next game that is kicking off, ladies and gentlemen, it will be the Brumbies versus the Hurricanes, and that is going to be a very entertaining game, kicking off in just over, or just under an hour, in fact. Then there is a game between the Highlanders and the Force. We aren't covering that one on the channel, but the game after that we are going to be covering. And then Blues versus Reds is the 9:30 game that is also going to be taking place. But Mary Dirialangi, he's made his way from the field. I like you, bro. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Oni. Hugely appreciate it, and hopefully you are enjoying the game as it happens. I have Ravatamanda to score a try and the Drua to win, says Master Yoda. Oh, okay. He hasn't been a mile off at times, Ravatamanda, and he is a very good try-scoring option. They just haven't really got it to him much in this one. Possession pretty 50-50. Tackles missed. We've actually seen 24 missed by Moana Pasifika, but 21 missed by the FIJIAN Drua. Both sides just not quite having that tackling stat that they would have been after. 62 minutes through. Just saying, Michael Naitakani is still able to come onto the field for the FIJIAN Drua. I believe him and maybe they've made that change of Alia Thanakaivata, so just Naitakani remaining. Whereas for Moana Pasifika, I believe they have now emptied their bench. Now, nice attack and run forward from Thanakaivata, the man that I just mentioned. You never know, you might beat a Mr. Beast sub. I'm going to subscribe, keep up the good work. Says Oni, well, I think he's a little bit clear of us at the moment, Mr. Beast. So he has, what is it, like 100 million subscribers or something like that. Now, another penalty goes the way of the FIJIAN Drua. This is their chance to put the icing on the cake here. They're going to have a shot at the post, and this would actually take them to a 15-point lead, which would give them, you know, that 2-try threshold, a little bit extra as well, just on top. Really nicely done by the FIJIAN Drua to just keep those meters flowing, and then getting a little bit desperate and putting their hands down. It was Julian Savia gave away that penalty. He is puffing big time. He is not enjoying the heat for this contest. 45 meters out here for Armstrong Ravula. If this kick goes over, Moana Pasifika are going to need a little bit of something extra to get back into the contest. If it misses though, game's still well and truly on. Chance straight out in front. He's got fantastic kicking, but he's just missed that one. And the distance for it, that's a rarity to see that man miss in that kind of fashion. He's normally very precise in the way that he kicks the ball. Mr. B says 254 million. So he's gone up a little bit, hasn't he? Since last time I saw. 2 converted tries would get Moana Pasifika back into the lead here. I would actually get them into the lead. They've never been in the lead for this contest. They have got themselves the 22 dropout now. Yeah, says Oni. And now ready to kick this one off for Christian Leleofano. Nicely taken. Now going off to the right-hand side. Tackle made on the halfway line. Back to the right, Samu Tawake. Back across again. Armstrong Ravula. Looking for the touchline. Taken nicely by Christian Leleofano. Have 1 or 0, says Oni. And there as well. And also we got the swear word from Kiri, who's not happy with the performance so far, I would assume, from Moana Pasifika in this matchup. 15 minutes remaining. And that one's gone into touch from Leleofano. Another chance here for the FIJIAN Drua. It's at 15 meters out. Another line out opportunity here. Even someone like a Mizalami Dolokotu came onto the field recently. Looks like He's relatively tired. And that is fair enough. Like, it's being played in extreme heat for this game. Now about to be thrown in nicely over the top for Moana Pasifika. Anakaivata. Moving forward just a little bit further. Masi. This is the chance here for the draw to seal this game. Almost a good turnover from Moana Pasifika, but it opens up the gap on the short side for Vofi to be able to run forward. Now pass from Kuravuli. Gets it away to Natave. Again, going off to Armstrong Ravola. Whanakaivata makes a few extra meters. Vota driving tackle on him. No one wants to allow it to budge. Oh, there might have been head contact there from, I think it was Jacob Norris putting the shot in on Dolokoto. He's back up to his feet though. Now Armstrong Ravola tries to grab it. That was a bad kick. And in fact, it's a pretty poor one. Like, it's been taken back. It's going to be almost kicked out on the full. It's going to be play on. Armstrong Ravola keeps the ball alive. That's probably lucky as well, or else it would have been a very confusing one for the players there. 40 metres out from the line now. The Fijian draw with Eliza. Drua CC down and back play. Have to try and do it themselves with 14. Might be a little bit of cramp. Going backwards again. Still time remaining. Little chip that's nicely taken by Christian Liliafano. Celestino Ravatamanda. Counter-ruck there from the drawer. Number 20 was offside there. So that's going to be against Lotto Anisi, and they'll go back for the original penalty. There we go. I might have a guess for a later live stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you're lucky for the Blues versus Reds game, could end up having two of us sitting here rather than just the one. If you're keen to see who it is, if there is a guess, be sure to stick around for that live stream. It is going to be taking place in around 5 hours 45 minutes for that one. And there is 9 so far from Moana Pasifika compared to the 6 of the Fijian draw. 12 minutes remaining. Howdy, hey, brother. Well, howdy, brother Amish. A bit of an arm wrestle this one at the moment. Big night streaming ahead, eh, bro? Yep, very big. 5 more streams we have got for ourselves coming up soon. It's going to be a fun one, but also an exhausting one, I would say, for the evening. Nice stepping there from Kuravuli. Offload goes away to Moana Pasifika. And now looking to get those couple extra meters here. Offside from Moana Pasifika, or at least very close to being offside. They aren't under penalty advantage yet though. And Pasifika has another carry. Busy man. Only 5 metres out from the line. This is the chance for the Fijian drawer. They fire it out wide. Here comes Rakuru on the inside. And he scores the try for the Fijian drawer. And that should almost seal the deal now in this contest. I think they'll be pretty happy with that for the Fijian drawer. And hard luck, Moana, says Rain, although they are still inside of the top 8 for now. So they've still got a good chance of making their way further in the competition. If they're in the top 8 as well, like, we've got to remember they've had more wins this season than they had last season for the whole season. So they've still got time. And I don't... I'd be disappointed if they miss out on the top 8. It would be hard to say, though, depending on what happens outside of that top 8. And bye, see you at the next game against the Brumbies, says Oni. And hard luck, Moana, says Rain. In there as well. 10 minutes remaining. Of course, next week, Moana Pasifika are going to be back in action, though. I think they're playing the Highland. That's a lie. Or is it? Are they playing the Highlanders? Yeah, they are. And I think it's going to be a home game for Moana Pasifika. That is an afternoon start for us here in New Zealand, 2 p.m. How many times have these met before? I believe they've met once this season, which Moana Pasifika were able to win. And prior to that, I think they've played each other maybe 3 or 4 times. I think it's been a bit split in terms of who has been able to win those games, although the draw, I think, have the advantage overall. That kick has gone over from Armstrong Ravula, making the score now 24 points to 5. Moana Pasifika want any chance in this contest of receiving a bonus point. They have to get it very soon. Keep it up, brother. You're definitely New Zealand's biggest rugby streamer by far, brother. Says Bear Flavel. And there as well. And yeah, we've got plenty more coming in the near future. Plenty more live streams next weekend with the Sevens. We've got the URC later tonight as well as the Super Rugby games. And then next weekend we've also got the Champions Cup semi-finals. That's another penalty going the way this time of Moana Pasifika. Holding on. Can Moana Pasifika hold on here if they get themselves 5 metres out from the line? Maybe score a try now. And as much as it seems like it's a draw victory, it could end up changing in the very near future. Found touch about 5, maybe 10 metres out from the line. He started entering, just turning his head and winking at the camera when he saw he was on the big screen. Sama Malolo getting that line out right, going short side. Risky, but it is the reward. Sione Havele Talatui runs it through. They're back in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Moana Pasifika, I mean, it's a bit unfortunate in some regards that they have to wait until the opposition score before they can score, but they are now getting there a little bit closer. They're within the 2 tries. That is if this kick goes over. My uncle is Frank Lamani. Says on the end there. Currently suspended, of course, Frank Lamani, but he will be back in the coming weeks. I think that Simeone Kuravuli, though, very good option at 9 as well for the FIJIAN DRUA and also for the international side of things just around the corner. Fiji, of course, going to be taking on New Zealand. Oh, says Oni there. 8 minutes remaining now. And the kicking chance for Christian Leleofano. They need this one to go over, or else 2 converted tries will take us to golden point in this matchup. But can Leleofano get it? Yeah, like Derilangi. Says Oni, struck at Leleofano, and it misses just away to the side. That probably still means there isn't much of a chance of them being able to win this game here, Moana Pasifika. But there is still a chance maybe for a draw if they can get 2 converted tries. But those missed kicks really been costing them. They could be on 14 points, only 10 down. Those ones had been going over. Now 7 minutes remaining. And ready to line this one up. Kicking it off, nicely taken. Now back across to Aloto Anisi. He's broken through 3 tackles. Still going, the big man. He's wrestled down towards the touchline. But Moana Pasifika now just inside of their own half. Will look for another counter attack. Here comes Christian Leleofano. Tackled by Samu Tawake on the halfway line. They've got numbers here. Tawala with the skip pass. Going out wide. Drawing pass. Nicely sold by Sione Havili Talatui. To keep the ball in the field of play as the defence was drifting across to line up the winger. Tawala with the short ball. Almost dropped by Sama Malolo, but he's been able to hang on to it. Now Tamatine back across to Danny Tawala. Another step here for Moana Pasifika. Thanks for your name. Struggling to keep my eyes open. Says Peter Wild now going short side. Naria Famai went for the offload up to Fine, who has dropped the ball. And now it gives it back for the FIJIAN DRUA. And they'll go back for the original scrum. 6 minutes now remaining, and that might be the icing on the theoretical cake for the Moana Pasifika side. They've had 10 handling errors throughout this game, and that is somewhere that they've really struggled with. Five and a half minutes remaining. Eight penalties conceded for both of these sides as well. 17 turnovers conceded for Moana Pasifika. The territory is pretty close to 50-50. Possession at the moment, just a little bit in favour of Moana Pasifika. Oh, sorry, in favour of the Fijian Drua, I should say. Apisalumi Vota has now been taken off the field for Naito Kani, who will get the last 5.5 minutes of this matchup. Chance again here for the scrum. Got a volley, about to put it in. What if Moana made a comeback? It would be massive. Like, if they get 2 converted tries, they've won the penalty again, Moana Pasifika. Fiji are keeping them in this game here by making silly errors at silly times. Moana Pasifika are going to be only 5 metres out from the line and another opportunity to go for the corner. I think some of Malolo we just heard there through the referee's microphone. We've heard someone saying, take your time. Don't make a mistake here. We need this one in. And could Moana, or what could Moana do differently next time in your opinion? I think it's just getting a little bit more clinical with their handling. Like, their discipline at times throughout this game has been a bit rough, but overall it's just making sure that their handling is a lot better. That's another try for Moana Pasifika. If they get this kick over, we are at a chance of going to golden point time, ladies and gentlemen. These games are always close between these two sides. I don't think anyone anticipated them coming back in this way that they have, and besides scoring more tries, that is, says Rain. I mean, they may have hurt you there, Rain, because they have just gone and got themselves a try here right at the end of this contest. Still another 3 minutes left on the clock. Liliafano has got to get this, says DJ Shaq. Well, we'll go like this and like this. So currently in the odds, the way that it sits, that kick is good as well from Christian Liliafano. They are getting close, absolutely clutch in there. And convert it, please. And they certainly did. Otherwise, Moana can kiss goodbye to any hopes of the comeback. And yeah, now they're only down by the 7. 3 minutes remaining. Yeah, really well done. I want to come back from Moana Pasifika, and they have now got a bonus point in this game the way that it sits, but it was Sama Malolo who was able to score that try, ladies and gents. Now kicked off by Armstrong Ravula as the clouds start to roll over in Lautoka. Are we going to see the late comeback from Moana Pasifika that no one was anticipating? Seemed like when that last try, the Fijian Drua was scored, it was done and dusted. Game, set, match. But they're inside of their 22 now for Moana Pasifika. And it looks like they're going to have to try and chip it in behind Danny Tawala. Awkward bouncing ball, and it rolls into touch 22 metres out. So if Moana Pasifika score and convert golden point, exactly right. Even though our scoreboard's slightly behind, there we go. Now it is in the right place. Let's go Fijian Drua power. There's Oddie, and now they have got themselves the line out 22 metres out from the line. So they're in a good position. Two minutes remaining. About to throw this one in for the Drua here. Nicely claimed by Soana Sila. They've got 90 seconds to try and take away that bonus point from Moana Pasifika. They go for the rolling maul. Doesn't work out for them in that case. Another chance. Koravoli going across there at the left-hand side. Yoni Salawa moving forward. Moment they are just putting together phase after phase. Chance out wide to get the Ravatamundo. I know that someone wanted him to score so that they could get paid, I think it was. I think it was a part of one of their multis. Now Kuravuli Looking for the ball on the inside to Celestino Ravatamando, who offloads again to Kuravoli, back to Samu Tawake. Only 10 metres from the line now by the Fijian Drua. Knock on from Ravatamanda. Ooh, the voice doesn't like that. But, tell you what, we've got time left. Another chance here. They are going to take the scrum now. Moana Pasifika, they are only about 15 metres out from their line. That's the siren at the moment. One last chance here for Moana Pasifika. 15 seconds remaining. It looks like there's a bit of an injury at the moment on the field. Yeah, just not quite getting it right. Out the back line to the right-hand side. Just not quite holding on to it. Just talking about taking the water off the field. Right, they're good. We've had the stoppage. We're now ready for the final moments of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. If Moana Pasifika have a handling error of some sort and this game comes to a close, they would receive 1 point in this contest. If the Fijian Drua score again, that would take away Moana Pasifika's bonus point. And then also alongside that, if Moana Pasifika score and they convert, we go to golden point time. And Moana, there's hope, but they've got to go the length for the field, says DJ Shaq. Ball's now fed in. Looking for this rolling maul here. Big push from both sides. It's in the hands of Moana Pasifika though. A nice attack and run from Finianisi. Moves up to the 22. Ball being protected. No, is it? Whose penalty is that? Wait. Whose penalty? Okay, it's the penalty to the Fijian Drua. The referee had his arm up and I wasn't sure what way round it was. And OMG says rain and what? And I was at Moana, let's hope, but they've got to go the length of the field, says DJ Shaq. That's going to be a quick tap. Kicked into touch now. The Drua will win this game 24 points to 17. Moana Pasifika a little bit closer in this game than some anticipated. That will be the bonus point in their favour. Fiji, though, they will get the 4 points and will remain in 7th at the end of this match. I call that back. Referee was in front of the mark, so wasn't able to take it quickly. He had to go back to where it was before being able to run it the way that he wanted to. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. The next live stream that we have got on the channel will be the matchup taking place between the Brumbies and the Hurricanes, and that is going to be at 4:30 p.m. New Zealand time. But I thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.